what I find about people like yourself that have been through like a really scary thing, really scary, like genuinely scary, like scary threats of your life, war zone stuff. Folks like yourself have so much less patience for nonsense.
Exactly. And that's why I sometimes can appear irascible when I go after. Because sometimes people will say, when I meet you, you seem so much nicer and warmer than how you are on social media. But I'm not trying to be mean on social media. It's that I'm pissed off at the bullshit. And so it comes across as though, I'm cantankerous and combative. But I'm just really fighting, hopefully, the good fight.
Well, the real problem with social media is the problem with human beings. It's tribal groupthink.
Yeah.
And it overwhelms these groups of people that you associate with, and then narratives get formed, and you can't stray outside those narratives. You can't even look at objective reality. You can't look at data. You can't look. It just becomes so crazy that the ideology and the adherence to that ideology trumps everything. It trumps the truth. It trumps. You're willing, as long as the politician's on your side, to ignore craziness, corruption, horrible shit. You ignore all of it.
Perfect example of that. I hate to say that I've seen his feed. Meathead from All in the Family, Rob Reiner. Have you ever gone to his?
I've read a couple of tweets and I'm like, I'm out. I love his work too much.
I know. It's hard to then like his work when he is so overwhelmingly obsessed with Trump. Stephen King is another guy who fits that description.
Something happens to old liberals with a ton of money. It's like something happens to those old creative types.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that you're arguing with people online about it all day long if you're Rob Reiner or if you're Stephen King. Like putting nasty tweets out. It's like, come on.
So I wrote, maybe it was shameless plugging of my book, but I responded to Rob Reiner. I said, let me send you a copy of my book. Man, there's so much that you have to be happy about. Stop being mired endlessly in vitriol. I mean, that's all he does. I mean, imagine this guy, how many things he's got to be grateful about. He's a creative guy, a talented guy, and he spends all day obsessing on issues that ultimately he's got no control over.
Well, people viewed Trump as an existential threat to the very fundamentals of the country. They thought that he was going to come in and he was going to represent corruption on a level that we've never seen before. But the problem with doing that and saying that is that it opens the door to examining all the other corruption. Like, how much corruption is there?
Yeah.
Like, how much money are you guys making? Where's this money coming from? There's so much corruption that's readily available that once you start opening the door to calling someone a monster, then everyone gets to look at you and go, hey, but what about you guys? Like, what are you doing? What about drone bombings? Let's talk about some real problems. So what about the fentanyl crisis? Like, what about the borders where like criminals are coming through? Like, how many are being sent back? What's the numbers?
Yeah. What's
the numbers? I mean, a lot of them are good people that just want to find a better way to live, and good for them. And I would do it too. If I could sneak across into America and be assimilated, I would fucking do it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you got a bad roll of the dice and you're living in somewhere that's less favorable, and you get the opportunity to just all you have to do is get across the river and they let you in. But how many of those people shouldn't be here? How many of those people are dangerous? How many? What's the number? It's not zero. What's the number?
Well, I could tell you that we've talked about this in the past when we talked about people who come from certain cultures where there's rampant anti-Semitism.
Yes.
Right? And so if you let people that are coming from cultures where when they're polled, somewhere between 90 to 99% of them will exhibit rampant Jew hatred. It doesn't take much of a sociologist or a survey analyst to recognize that out of all those people that are coming in, you're going to have an increase of Jew hatred. Yesterday, I was out with some friends here in Austin, and so one of them asked me, "Have you seen an uptake on Jew hatred? Are you exposed to more?" And I say, "Oh, it's endless. It's not, I mean, it's usually on social media."
Do you think it's ramped up? Or do you think now that Elon has taken over Twitter and allowed much more free speech?
Hard for me to tell. I really don't know. But there is kind of a normalized. Now, many of them are behind anonymous accounts.
Of course.
But there is kind of a cavalier normalization of just saying. So, for example, I think someone had retweeted, a promotional thing about my book, and someone said, why are you promoting the Jew? You're like, my God, this guy could be your son's teacher. He could be the grocer at the store.
You know what? I have a real concern with that, and I also have a real concern with vested entities, like organizations that would want people to be at each other's throats, stirring up things with fake social media posts. Because this is a real problem that's happening in the world right now.
Right.
Someone tweeted a bunch of different examples of where dozens and dozens of accounts are saying the same inflammatory things with the exact same wordage. Exact. And they're all like, they have numbers and letters in their accounts, like just random accounts. And, you go to their page, it looks kind of real. They have a photo. There's like them with a flag. It's like, and you go through it, but you get this sense like, oh, you're a bot. Like, you're not even a real person. Like, so you're an agent of, you're stirring up bullshit. So there's a certain aspect of our culture. I don't know what the percentage is, but there's a certain aspect of the conversations online that are being flavored by fake accounts that are designed to get people upset with each other.
Yeah.
It's like psychological warfare on a level that no one anticipated and no one's prepared for. Because when you have the two things we already discussed, like this adherence to the ideology no matter what, like you can't objectively, logically defend any of the things that are in opposition of it.
Yeah.
And then you have this.